Wow. This is awesome. So, I got to see Transformers 1 in theaters twice. The one time being earlier in theaters when they were doing an earlier screening at my local movie theater, and the second time being to see it on its release date with a friend of mine. And seeing this movie, it was absolutely brilliant.
It was perfect. Perfect.
Transformers 1 is by far, if not one of the best Transformers movie that I have seen since Transformers the movie from 1986, the first Bayverse Transformers movie from 2007, and in my opinion, Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon, and of course, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. For those of you that don't know, or if you know me personally, you know that I love Transformers. I grew up collecting the toys and watching the animated shows like Transformers Animated and Transformers Prime, being one of, if not my favorite TV shows of all time, including Beast Wars, and other shows like Armanda, Energon, and Cybertron, and watching the Bayverse Transformers films around the mid to late 2000s and to early to mid 2010s, and watching the Transformers G1 series and Transformers the movie, and watching the Align continuity, and reading some of the IDW comics growing up. Transformers has influenced me growing up, and even though that some of the movies, including the Bayverse films, which is popcorn entertainment action, great visuals and awesome action sequences despite some of the flaws that the human characters would take up the spotlight, and how sometimes you cannot recognize one of the characters in the action sequences, like with the Autobots or the Decepticons, minus Optimus and Bumblebee. But they have been taking a downfall since The Last Night, which was supposed to be the opening expansion to a cinematic universe. But it bombed at the box office, not making as much money as Paramount and Hasbro expected would, thus canceled the Bayverse and decided to reboot the Transformers movie universe with Bumblebee, which was great and absolutely brilliant and enjoyable. Though probably not my favorite Transformers movie, but I did like the next film after that, that being Rise of the Beasts, which was an absolute treat, and seeing the Maximals being adapted to the big screen was amazing. Though even though they don't have enough screen time, though minus with Optimus Primal and Air Razor, they were pretty cool characters. Though it was kinda sad to see Air Razor getting killed off. Then we now have Transformers 1, which is an absolutely amazing film that I loved, and it's the best Transformers film that I've ever seen, with some brilliant visuals, great animation by ILM, and actually doing a great job on focusing on the Transformers themselves. The thing I really liked with this movie is that it focuses on the Transformers and that there are no human characters. The human characters do take up a lot of the spotlight for the film. While some aren't that bad, and some human characters can be pointless, they sometimes do take up the spotlight, and some of them can be bland and pointless, like Cade from Age of Extinction and The Last Night, or Sam's new girlfriend in Dark of the Moon, Carly. But there are some great human characters, like Charlie from Bumblebee, or Noah and Elena from Rise of the Beasts. The Transformers here in this movie actually felt fleshed out. Before Optimus became Optimus Prime, he was called Orion Pax, and before Megatron became Megatron, he was called D16. Seeing these characters and their journey of becoming who they are today in the franchise is a breath of fresh air, as we the audience can relate to these characters. Orion is relatable, as he is a believer and wants to prove a point to every bot that he has courage, and that there is more than meets the eye. He is very caring for others, including for his best friend D16. D16 was the best developed character that I've seen in this movie. We see how his relationship with Orion is pretty cool, though doesn't like getting into Orion's challenges. But he does get dragged into them at times, but kind of enjoys it a bit. We see how he starts off as this nice guy who believes in Sentinel for what he is doing, and has Orion Pax's back, even though he is held down by rules and regulations. The when he sees the truth about Sentinel and his deal with the Quintessons, and we see him slowly becoming this evil tyrant that we all know today. Throughout the franchise, we see Megatron as this evil menacing tyrant, but seeing him like this before he was the iconic villain that we all know today was awesome. Speaking of Sentinel, Sentinel was really awesome in this movie. A portrayal of a false false hero, we see how he's supposed to be this inspiration towards the people of Cybertron. I liked how they blended in the mix of two different counterparts of Sentinel, the alcoholic personality that we have seen in Transformers Animated, and his betrayal false version of the character we see in his Bayverse counterpart. The rest of the characters are good for the most part, but I don't have too much to say about these characters. The look of Cybertron in this film is amazing. I love how they set this film in Cybertron. Seeing the world of Cybertron in this film is awesome and is a unique setting for this film, since this is an origin story of the Transformers, more specifically the origin of Optimus Prime and Megatron, being a breath of fresh air for the franchise. The way how Cybertron looks and how the characters looked and moved in this film was awesome to see. The way how the Transformers move and acted is outstanding, especially with how they put some awesome Transformers lore, as it seems that the filmmakers have done their research, like with the T-Cogs, which we saw in Transformers Prime, as it is a device of how the Transformers transform. Also, the mines and how they are treated, the minor worker bots, just like in the IDW comics. The animation does look really nice and its visuals look amazing, being done by ILM out of all the animation studios, which is pretty awesome. The animation reminds me of the Bionicle movies from the early to mid 2000s. The franchise has seemed to take in a new direction since The Last Knight. We've seen the action of the Transformers in the Bayverse films, but don't know about their personalities though. Throughout the new films like Bumblebee and Rise of the Beasts and now Transformers 1, they do get a personality and more screen time than how they were portrayed in the Bayverse films. In Transformers 1, it tries something new by telling the origin of Optimus Prime and Megatron. We see how these characters were portrayed in most incarnations of the Transformers, but never actually saw the origins of the characters, of how they came to be. Well, we have some of the iterations like in the G1 series, or how it was narrated in the storybook visual art in Transformers Prime. Seeing it here in film format is amazing. We see how Optimus is this role model and leader to the Autobots and to the audience in general, and how we see Megatron as this menacing and iconic villain that he has portrayed in previous incarnations, but here we see them both as relatable characters, though it would be very sad and emotional seeing how they go through different paths and no longer becoming friends and now becoming enemies, becoming the characters that we all know and love today. This is by far, if not one of my favorite movies of 2024. Next to films like Spy Family Code White, Bike Riders, Kinds of Kindness, Long Legs, Deadpool Wolverine, Dee, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, and Alien Romulus, as those are the only good movies so far that I have seen in theaters. If you're a Transformers fan yourself, or if you're trying to look for an enjoyable movie to have a good time, then this film is a must-watch. A great film for both old and new fans of Transformers, though wouldn't probably fit into the continuity of the aligned continuity or the Bayverse films. More likely be like G1 or the rebooted Transformers film universe, but this film is a wonderful treat that will definitely have you on the edge of your seat, and a film that takes a unique direction with showing the world of the Transformers, the lore with showing things like energon and minor worker bots, and how they are treated as slaves like in the IDW comics, or the use of T-Cogs, of how the Transformers transform from their bot modes to vehicle modes, as seen and mentioned in Transformers Prime, and how they portrayed Sentinel Prime. The voice acting in this film is a bit of a mixed bag, but can be good for the most part, like Chris Hemsworth as Orion Pax, aka Optimus Prime. Chris does a great job on playing this version of Optimus, and isn't trying to copy Peter Cullen's performance from previous incarnations. He actually does an accent in this movie, and does a great job on using the accent for Optimus. Brian Tyree Henry's voice for D16, aka Megatron, felt a little weak and doesn't feel like Megatron at all. He is good with D16, with Megatron not so much. Scarlett Johansson is fine as Elita 1, but doesn't feel like Elita 1. But with other actors like Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, John Hamm as Sentinel Prime, Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion, and Steve Buscemi as Starscream, is pretty good for the most part. The filmmakers did an amazing job with learning and adapting some parts of Transformers lore into this film, and developing these characters that what makes these characters we all know today. It's a great film for both old and new fans of Transformers that will definitely enjoy from start to finish. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Now, I will be giving a quick update for what has been happening with uploading videos and editing videos for this channel. Now, I know I've been a little left behind on uploading videos, and that is because I am pretty busy with my new semester going on around, and I am still currently working on videos. I'm currently working on the Dark Sapin short film that I am currently working on right now, and I am currently working on the Dragon Ball fan films that I am currently working on right now. I cannot reveal any more further details, but that is pretty much it. But I promise that there will be an upcoming update-ish video, a big update-ish video that is coming out pretty soon. And there are other video essays that I do have in mind, but please be patient and more will come soon. And if you guys like this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and I will make sure to see you all in the next video.